David, thank you so much for being here. You ready to do this?
Yeah, sure, no problem. I'm excited to talk about Dracula.
Great. Hey, I just wanted to thank you for letting me come by and sit in on rehearsals last night. It was really exciting to see the pre-production and everything that was happening, and I got to tell you, it looks like this is going to be a dynamite production of Dracula. But I got to tell you, I think I got bit by the acting bug there watching this and taking it all in, so I was thinking maybe, we should talk.
Where are you going with this, Mike?
Where am I going with this? David, I'm kind of a rising star, as I'm sure you're well aware. And you being the president of Pentacle and a star director yourself, I'm thinking this could be maybe a lucrative proposition for both of us if you could cast me in an upcoming starring role in one of your next productions. What do you say?
Well, first of all, you're not a star. And second, I don't think this is a good idea at all.
Well, why not? Why isn't this a good idea?
Well, Mike, you lack so many of the requirements to be an actor.
Well, such as?
Well, to start with, there's talent. Yeah, talent.
Well, okay, but what about Chuck Norris and William Shatner? They have absolutely zero talent, and they're huge stars.
Well, they're also attractive. You're more of approximately like a Steve Buscemi or Danny DeVito. And then, again, they have talent, too. You know what?
What?
I do have a role at Pentacle, though, that would be good for you.
I'm down for anything. What do you got? Yeah.
Well, the janitor just left, so maybe you could do that. Listen, why don't you call me, okay? We'll set up an appointment, and maybe that could be you.
Yeah, okay.
Okay?
Yeah,
all right.
Thanks, David.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Good to see you.
Yeah. Welcome to Spotlight on Salem. I'm your host, Mike Kemper. If you wish to contact us, send us an email to spotlightonsalem@yahoo.com. Be sure to follow our Spotlight on Salem page on Facebook to keep up to date with events happening in the Salem area. Well, up to now, we've focused primarily on music on this show, but tonight we're going to go in a different direction. Tonight, we have the director and some of the cast members of the upcoming production of Dracula that will be premiering at the Pentacle Theatre on September 28th. That production runs until October 20th, so be sure to get your tickets. Check them out online. So let's get to it. Welcome to Spotlight on Salem.
Hi, thank you.
So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves and your role in the production here?
Oh, I'm David Ballantyne, I'm the director.
Julia Owens, I'm a vixen.
Anthony J. Ruddlesberger, I am Dracula the Elder.
I'm Cliff Boyer and I play Van Helsing.
Oh, welcome. Glad to have you here. So David, tell me how you came to direct this play. What was your passion in getting this started?
I directed A Mice and Men in 2016 at Pentacle, and one of the things about that it was my first time directing, and one of the things about that show that I really liked was kind of doing all the technical aspects, and I didn't know I would like it that much. So all the lights and sound and music and things like that kind of went into that show really. It was my first time getting to control some of that stuff, so it was really fun to dive into that. So I started to think about what my next show might be, and I started to kind of look for scripts that had kind of technical aspects that I could kind of explore and have fun in that area. And I read a couple scripts, and I ended up landing on Dracula as a story, and then I pulled out about 5 different versions of it that are out there, and I narrowed down to one that I really liked a lot. And then I went to Pentacle, and I with one of the committees there, and I said, hey, I threw it at them, and I said, hey, I'm really interested in this, and read it. Let me know what you guys think. And from there, it kind of went through the process.
It's quite a process because you guys go through quite a few screenplays or playwrights before you decide which one you're going to select. And the committee?
Yeah, the committee reads, on average, about 150 scripts a year.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's a yearly committee that is looking at the following year to kind of, to digest all of that material, boil it down to about 20, 30 plays that kind of match some of the goals of the organization, whatever those might be, and then directors start looking at those and go from there. So I was kind of pushing early, like, hey, I want this on the hot list. It's like, I'm interested.
Great. And so you were fortunate enough to have yours selected, and they selected you to be the director. Is that how it normally works if you put forth something?
Yeah, it's attached. It's attached. Yeah, so I put together the proposal, a vision, a budget, and everything, and said, hey, here's what I want to do, and you crazy enough to go with me, and so they were down with it.
Sounds like you had a complete vision for how you wanted this to come out.
Yeah, I mean, I've been I was struck pretty hard from the beginning about kind of the direction I thought it should go. I think once I had the green light, though, I think I started to really look at the path and try and define it as much as I could, as soon as I could. I think there's lots. I don't like to creatively box myself in either by setting up boundaries. So I try and set up kind of a loose fence, if you will, where I know I can run around this corral and do all these things in that pen, and then I'll start to kind of tighten it up as we start playing, because I need other people to kind of figure that out too, like the actors and some of the sound designers and musicians and all sorts of folks that have kind of helped put some pieces into this.
Right. Okay. Well, I was fortunate to be able to come and watch some of the rehearsal last night. I don't know if you guys noticed me there, but it was the first time I'd ever come to a rehearsal, and it was really exciting to see what all's going on in the background that you don't get to see when you see the finished product. And so it was interesting to me to see that. I would say, Anthony, I was really taken by your performance as Dracula the Elder. Cliff, I didn't really get to see much. You were just there on the stage, but and Julia, I did get to see the Vixen. So yeah, that was a.
Yeah, he came in right. We were rehearsing at end of Act 1. So.
Oh, you saw the good stuff there.
Right. Yeah, it looked a bit gruesome just from the rehearsal.
In a sexy way.
Yeah, but the feeding part was a little bit.
Well, let's not get too.
Nobody
let's not get too spoilery, okay?
Okay.
Spoiler alert.
We
all have to eat.
The main plot points are there, but yeah, it's how we get there is part of the fun, right?
All right. No more spoiler alerts. Well, I saw the end of Act 1, so
yeah, there you go.
What can I divulge? So you picked Stephen Dietz. That was the playwright you decided to go with, but it sticks pretty closely to the Bram Stoker original. Yeah,
and it's credited as adapted from Bram Stoker's novel, and he does a good job, I think, of taking the story and making it accessible for the stage and doable on stage. The way it was written too, I think he really tries to leave the creative freedom open, saying, do what you can with the budgets you might have. Here's some things I think you should have: good sound system, energy, heart, whatever. He's got this little list in there, and then so it's like some things are suggested, some things are do what you will in certain moments. So we've taken that to heart and tried to grab onto that. But it takes the pace too of the story, keeps it tight. And so it keeps the kind of adventure mystery of it, like what's going on, what's happening to these people, kind of really at the forefront of the storytelling device. There's a couple characters that have been shed, just to keep it lean.
Right.
You can't have everybody in a novel or a movie, of course. So, so it's done some of that, but I think all in all, it's a strong adaptation.
Okay. Yeah, and there's how many? 14 actors, was that right?
Yep.
And how many in the crew? It's a pretty big crew.
Well, it is a big crew. I would say the people who have helped on a technical aspect, I think, is at 25. And some of those people have done like two things. They created a couple of things special for us, or some have been working on all the costumes, or somebody designed all the film elements, or someone designed all the sound, and he's the operator. And so there's different levels of participation there, but at least 25 people have helped me in some way, kind of get this thing to keep moving.
That's pretty incredible because, as just a patron that comes to the plays, you don't really see all the background that goes into with the costuming and the set design and all of that. It's just already right there, and so you just consume it. But it's amazing to see how many people were running around last night at rehearsal.
Was I running around? Because I'm in the stay calm phase right now.
Really?
So
Okay.
trying to keep cool. There's a lot of stuff going. We're really trying to dial in, and it feels like to me 18 things at once. Just trying to get all of those things to align and keeping dreams I've had about this show with the reality and these great people that are with me, and trying to kind of see it all. Sometimes you end up in those moments creatively with a square peg and a round hole, and you go, wait a minute, well, now what am I going to do? And so you kind of have to step back and go, okay, what am I going to do? And kind of keep re-problem solving. I think one of the keys to doing theater is that if you don't know how to adapt or bend or change and transform a little bit, it's going to be a hard process, because it's never the same twice, and most likely you're going to need to stay adaptable to make it work.
I was really noticing the lighting cues, because when you go to watch a play, it just happens. And I was noticing last night, trying to sync up the lighting cues as you were coming down onto stage, and you just take it for granted. So it was really interesting to see how much effort, not just by the actors and you, but the lighting and the sound people bringing that all together, because by the time the performance happens, it should just be seamless, as it usually is when you go to a
Team. It
Pentacle
has to be a
production.
team.
Sure.
Team process.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
many people involved in it.
And it's an interesting process, because we've been together acting since I don't know, just the very end of July, right? And we didn't have much technical stuff going on. We were downtown at a rehearsal hall, so we were just working on character development, about story, about who these people are, how these events affect them, things like that. And I've told them early on, I was like, listen, because now we're going to move to the theater, and then all of those technical folks, some can do some pre-work, but at a certain point, you got to get in there, and we only have 3 weeks to kind of layer in all of those pieces. And that includes building the set, designing the lights, inserting the costumes, the props, the visuals, the sound. I mean, all of that stuff has to get put into place.
That's a very short time frame. And how
Yeah.
many nights a week are you practicing at this stage?
What are you guys doing? 4?
Yeah. Four.
Yeah.
That's
they're
only when
4
we're
nights
there,
a week
though.
right now.
4 nights a week.
The technical team and I have been almost 7 days a week in some way. I won't say that we're, that night working for 5 hours, but at least 2 to 3 hours we're doing something.
You're in constant contact with people, so and you work full time too.
Yeah.
In addition to that.
Yeah, not much this week, but but yeah, I mean, I'll try to take a little balance there too. I mean,
Yeah.
this is what I do for fun, so.
Oh, absolutely.
While I don't want to amp it up, as there's all this time commitment, but it is. It's the kind of stress and busy that makes me want to keep going.
Right. Well, clearly, everybody's doing this for the love of the craft, and that's why you're here. So now, Julia, this is your first production ever, not just a Pentacle production, but
You don't know that just by watching last night, right?
No, David clued
You've been
me
filled
in.
in. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, then, yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
My first time.
And you're a musician by trade, normally.
Trade, passion, born with it.
She's a very good musician.
Oh.
I try.
Okay.
Yeah. I went to school, play violin. I teach kids violin, voice, guitar, piano, whatever I can, really.
Oh,
And
very good.
So I try to kind of fill myself into wherever I can, especially with Dracula. It was easy to do because I automatically knew that if I could get my hands on it musically, that I would go all the way with it. And I think this is my first composition for it too. And I think we're going to use some of it.
Oh, nice. I was not. Oh, so you've composed some of the music to go with. Oh.
Yeah. Yes.
And she also
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
she also comes with a very strong affinity for Dracula, which makes a
Oh.
big difference.
I'm not
Here too.
actually a vampire, but I think that I have that
You
that
think-
lust inside.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what prompted
Devotedly.
you? Was it the play that called to you to try your hand at acting, or were you thinking of doing this before the Dracula production?
I think
came about?
always wanted to act, but never saw the right opportunity. And when I heard that, I think I saw David's post about Pentacle hosting Dracula, and I thought, it's now.
now's
Do
the
it now.
time.
Yeah, go.
Did you
go
ever do
for
any
it.
acting in high school, or?
I was in the Music Man for a little bit, like a pick a
Okay.
little lady and just a sort of a chorus line person, but not really, no acting, no. Mm-mm. This is the first time I've done anything.
Well, at least you have some experienced actors here with you to help you out.
Yeah, especially
I'm
these
really
guys.
impressed
Yeah.
by what Julia's been doing, honestly, because as a first production, she's really giving it her all and getting in there and trying things. And I think
Thanks,
that's
Anthony.
really awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, you and the other vixens were quite powerful.
Compelling, yes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
compelling
Yeah.
from what I saw last night.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Well, and you can come. I think you can come to theater at many levels, and if the soul and the body are willing, usually you can get there, and find your way, and find a part that works, find that start, whatever, and good director will help you and match you to the right thing and keep you going, So. So yeah, she's grabbed onto everything we've tried. I say, hey, try this. She's going for it. So yeah.
That's great.
And on
Well,
that
he's
point,
great
I
at doing
think,
that, too.
Yeah, I think David has really
David.
put together a great cast and crew. And he thought so hard about this cast, and his selections, his choices were really smart. And you'll see that in the production. It really makes a lot of sense. And
Yeah.
he took great care to make sure that the people that were playing the roles were just what he wanted, and if not, they could get there.
Okay. Yeah, and I've been excited about this production opening up. So.
Yeah, I'm really grateful to be working with, just an amazingly talented group. It's just been a phenomenal experience
Yeah.
that way. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Cliff, you, my understanding is you were an actor in L.A., but you've taken a brief sabbatical, is it?
Yeah, real brief. It was only 30 years.
Right, okay.
That's all. And it's exactly what David was just talking about. As far as I just got this wild notion I'd love to try out for a play again, and I got online and saw Dracula, and just felt like this is right. I need to try for this, and even if I didn't get cast, I wanted to be involved in some way, just to get my foot back in the door. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity because it's been an amazing experience that way.
That's great. It's amazing you took a 30-year break and now you're jumping. So do you see this as a jumping back on point after this?
I'm
You'll
bitten
be
by the bug again. Yeah. In fact, I'm already thinking, what's going to happen after this closes? I want to keep going.
Yep, yeah.
So and I'm just getting more and more excited as the process continues. So it's been good that way. I originally left because of some health issues, and then just never really quite found my way back. I got involved in life, and so as I said, I just, for some reason, got this wild idea that it would be fun to do a play again, and Dracula seemed right. It just felt good, and when I went to auditions, just to see the quality of the folks who are auditioning just really made me excited for this.
Oh, it's good.
So,
yeah, it's good to continually challenge yourself as you go
Absolutely.
through life.
Yeah, yeah.
And Anthony, you have quite an extensive.
I started acting 47 years ago. I did probably, I did a lot of theater until the mid-'80s, and at which point I moved to Chicago. Didn't do anything, I did one play in Chicago and I think one short film in the 12 years I was there. So I kind of, like you, took a long break from it and then came back here and lived in Portland for some time, didn't do any theater there either.
Really?
And then finally came back down here and rejoined the Pentacle family. I did a play there. The last time I did a play there was 1981, I think.
Oh, that's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Then The Elephant Man, which was a few months back. That was last year. So
It's still this year, but yeah.
Seems like
Feels like a while ago now.
The pre-production of Dracula, it seems like last year then. Okay.
Yeah, but it feels really great to be on the stage. I love it, and there's something about it that is very magical, And you bring the story to life by inhabiting these characters, and the story is told that way, and the words are just super important, and we have to really believe in what we're saying, and that's how. Stories are told, and it's pretty delightful.
Yeah, you're very soft-spoken here, but last night, much different.
Well,
You were really in
I'm a
character.
character.
Yeah. So I was expecting a
love
more
that.
commanding presence, and when you came in, you're just kind
I
of.
could yell if you
Yeah,
Go for
You
it.
can get casually commanding.
casually
Scares
command.
me sometimes.
Doesn't always just need the Dracula script to get going.
So let's talk about the music. I know Julia's done some composing, and tell us some more about the music if you can.
Well,
without giving away.
Music's a big part of me. I'm a musician too, and music and its emotional connection is the first thing that resonated with me as a kid. I mean, that was one of the things that I got.
I'm right there with you.
You know, there's something about that does something to me that I'm like, whoa, you know, whether it's raised my neck hairs or what. I mean,
Right.
goosebumps. I mean, there's something there. So thinking about music and thinking about how it can inform tone and the feel of scenes and the show was one of the reasons when I first got the script. I was like, man, my mind was running on music, things I had known and heard that I thought matched up. Like as I'm reading it, you know, I'm listening to records or whatever, and I'm like, oh, this kind of lines up kind of cool, you know. So that was kind of some of those early things that really clicked with me. So I had to try to piece all that stuff together, and we have. We've got, so I did kind of reach out to some musicians that I've known for a long time, and I said, hey, I'm doing this, you know, here's some things that I'm thinking thematically, here's kind of the tone of some of these scenes, you want to try and compose some stuff. And along the way, kind of doing that, I've also, some of the cast members are musicians, right? So I was like, hey, Julia, you know, I was like, what about this? And then Anthony also has this crazy instrument that kind of has a theremin vibe that we was like, hey, let's record that, you know. But so Kyle Morton from Typhoon composed some tracks for it. There's a band from San Francisco called IO, and they have lent some music of theirs that's mostly instrumental. And you know, we're using bits and pieces and kind of layering it in and making it part of that immersive experience, because that's also something I at least as a director, I like to do, is kind of create this immersive world that feels like if I'm sitting there, I hear what that world sounds like. And so whether that's sound design, sound effects, but also the music kind of helps keep the emotional thread that we're building kind of weaving, and I think it also informs the audience a little bit about where they're going. And I'll let you guys speak to this, but I also noticed the effect too as we started to rehearse to it. As I'm trying to talk about where we're headed, and it's going to be hard. I mean, here we are in a blank room, much like this, without even a curtain. I mean, just blank walls. And I'm like, hey, here's what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
Here's where we're going. Follow me. And they're like, you know, okay. But you know, as we start to build this, I'm like, now here's what we're going to hear while this happens, right? And you start to play that, and then you start to feel that. And I think that kind of can help people go, okay, yeah, I understand this drum beat, or this, I feel that rhythm. That helps me kind of know what he's thinking maybe. So you guys can speak to that.
One of
effect.
our actors who was here the last time we did this, Rachel, she has a scene where the music is so vital to her that if she didn't hear her music, she could do the scene, but without it, it
just really enhances the
different.
performance.
It made her feel, as you know, it just gives you the feeling and just the sound and just the encompassing. You know, I mean, I get it. I don't think there's really much music that kind of feeds me that way, but. Yeah, certain actors are definitely very, very much inspired.
Well,
by the
it feeds
music.
me when I watch. Like, you know, I definitely.
Absolutely.
It was part of my vision from the get-go. I was like,
Really tying in
need to be
the
able-
audio piece with the visual
Yeah.
and making it.
And the choices are fantastic, really great, and they're all over the place, and they
Atmospheric
really
and a really good
add
emotional
so
subtext
much.
And there's
that-
also
Yeah.
there's also kind of some rock. There's some rock, kind of dark instrumental rock that's kind of thrown in too. I think some people that really kind of help me kick off in directions too are kind of like some of the stuff David Lynch does.
Okay.
Kind of dark,
Right.
ambient, then beautiful, then harsh, then beautiful, then dark. You know, that kind of cycle. But then, you know, if you take something like Twin Peaks too, he'll have this kind of dark rock riff in the middle of some of that stuff that really kind of gets that vibe too. And so some of that is, you know, I'm inspired by other folks like that too. Those are tours out there. So I'm grabbing some of those elements and going, yeah, man, that helped me when I was watching as an audience member.
It's amazing how much music can bring to a performance.
Yeah.
Conversely, No Country for Old Men, there's no music whatsoever in the
Which
entire
has a
movie,
very
but it has
different
its
kind of
own
effect.
effect because it
Absolutely.
just conveys the desolateness
Yeah.
of where they're at.
Yeah, absence
So-
can be just as compelling. you know.
Exactly,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, I think David's choices were fantastic. I think all the music works really, really well, and there's so much music out there to decide, on a handful or a couple handfuls of bits of music to use must be just so difficult. I wouldn't even know where to start.
Well, I didn't start, and that's a good point. I didn't start like when we cast the show in July. That's one of the reasons why I really wanted a lot of time, right? Is because I wanted to sit around, I wanted to walk around in the world, thinking about the script, holding it in my hand, reading it, and then hearing something and going, whoa, wait a minute, that reminds me of that scene a little bit, or whatever. Like I'm waiting to hear those kinds of. Sometimes that stuff has to happen by accident to me.
Yeah,
It
that's quite a
does.
skill to have, though. Not everybody could envision that.
I think
just
what
from
David's
reading the
taken on is
script.
absolutely overwhelming. I could not do it. I could not do it. I would drive you
Oh
insane.
yeah.
I completely agree. I
knew you would.
There's a lot going on. And we're like pushing this huge rock up a hill, and I feel it right now. Everybody's pushing, and I feel all the hands on it, and it's just about to crest. And then once it crests, this thing's gonna roll, and then I can be like, whew, there it goes. It's all the connections there. We pushed it to the spot. So it's been a lot of work. It's been really rewarding, and you've caught us at a really interesting moment because our first audience is in a week and a day, and so we're just keep layering all these things in front. I'm throwing a lot of things at these guys.
Oh, I just in the little bit I watched last night, just changes and placement and cues, and you guys having to follow that, and it being so close to opening night, but the attention to detail did not go unnoticed. And I could see that everybody had bought into what was happening, and I could see it in
all about
everybody.
buying in.
Yeah.
all about it.
So I'm completely confident you guys are going to be ready to rock.
That's a great group. They're definitely spiritual warriors for this stuff for sure. So it really helps, like to have them be.
It's got to be kind of nerve-wracking getting this close to opening night.
Yeah, it is.
Working all the kinks out.
It always is.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've been in one where I wasn't. You just have that. I think it's more nervous energy. And it depends on the person. I mean, some people might throw up. I don't know, but
It's excitement for me, but I'm just up there on stage. It's easy.
From here. I think the hardest thing, if I were in David's position right now, is everybody's coming up and asking him questions. David. I'm
Any questions?
yes. It's so nice.
So patient.
But it's like, I'm sure you just
hour,
want
there's
to
always, there's always a moment at the end of rehearsal where I say, "Is there any questions?" And there might be a couple, and I'm like, "Okay, great, have a good night." And then 4 people come up, and they're like, you have a question. So anyway,
It was like after question questions.
Yeah, exactly. We're all sorting through our roles, right? So whatever each individual sorting through as we make changes, like you kind of saw there, right? They process them, they do them, they come back and they go, help me understand, and then I say, well, what do you think? We kind of have that conversation and figure that out, So
It's
Anthony
cool
and I
that-
had one
Yeah.
on the path out to our car last night. Where it was like the last thing I talked about. I mean, it was something he was
important
interested in.
for me.
Yeah. So
And he could take the time, because that's just who he
again,
is.
I can always take the time.
And David's an actor. I think he's an actor's director. Just the collaborative
That's gotta
process
help,
with him is
having,
really fantastic.
yeah, been in the
I've learned
actor's
so
shoes,
much.
right.
And relearned a lot. Yeah. through
Okay.
David. Yeah.
Did you want to talk about any of the special effects, technical aspects?
Well,
before
there
we
are
wrap
some
up?
there are some fun things that we're planning, and I think that's what maybe the last thing I would really there's a lot of fun things happening here, and if somebody was like, oh, I don't want to see some bloodfest horror show, it's really not what this is. It's a story. It has many moments, and it involves some things that are horrific or supernatural, but it doesn't get overwhelmed, I don't think, as a story by any one of those. I think it kind of keeps that balance rolling. And in the
So
end,
there's no Sam Peckinpah or Quentin Tarantino moments in the play?
well, I won't guarantee that. Well, we're talking about a moment versus a whole
talking about
stylistic
Glenn Gore, right.
montage, maybe.
Right.
But we're trying to have as much fun with each of those moments. Here's I'll say it. We're trying to have as much fun with each of those moments as we possibly can.
Okay.
Because it's not every day you get to stake someone in the heart. And so, if the opportunity arises,
Spoiler
you
alert.
might as well.
I think we all knew that was coming at a certain point. I don't think that's really a spoiler.
But if you get a chance to, you might as well have as
Saturday
much
night.
fun as you can.
I actually
Exactly.
told someone at the end that Dracula gets a stake in the heart. They were like, "Oh man, you wrecked it!" And I'm like,
Are you not
"You don't
familiar?
know the story,
Yeah.
I guess."
How many years?
Okay, well,
out
that
there.
looks like that's about all the time we have for. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
Thank
here
you.
Thank you
tonight,
very
Thank you.
and looking forward to seeing this production.
Great.
We can't wait.
All right, thank you. Join us next time for Spotlight on Salem.